There's so much talk about the apostolic and the prophetic in our contemporary settings. Some of it is wonderful, some of it is deeply disconcerting, particularly in relationship to the abuse of titles and the ways in which we are using it to claim our own authority and boost our own egos. In Acts 16, Paul and Silas are in Macedonia after an extended season of Paul endeavoring to discern what God was up to, as he was desirous of somehow getting to Ephesus but never could get there. And he ended up having to take a southern route, and all sorts of doors closed. He gets to Troas. He has a vision of a man in Macedonian clothing, and he concludes that the Lord is calling them to Macedonia. Now, who is the man in Macedonian clothing? Because when they get to Macedonia, God is at work to establish a church. Paul is going to lay the foundation by preaching the gospel, and it is Lydia, a very wealthy woman, that is going to open the door to the city for them to establish a base from which the gospel can be proclaimed. That's another little secret there in terms of how we want to make visions literal and not really understand their overall impact and the way we're supposed to approach them carefully. But in the process, when they get there and they're preaching the gospel, there are two slave owners that are making benefit economically off of the girl that they have as a slave, a house slave, who has a spirit of divination, and she's prophesying truth. She's saying that Paul and Silas are servants of the Most High God. She's telling the truth. That's a warning to all of the prophets that claim their accuracy automatically sanctions them and that it has to be the Holy Spirit. No, it doesn't. It can actually be a demonic spirit. And yes, you can talk in tongues and still prophesy out of a demonic spirit, a spirit of divination. I haven't got time to go there, but that's a warning. That's a sober warning, especially right now, where there's no answerability and accountability in the prophetic in the current culture. Some things that we used to call witchcraft, we now call prophecy. And we're watching the judgment of God roll itself out as God gives people over to deceiving spirits. Quite honestly, we're seeing that more than I care to admit. But Paul discerns what's going on and realizes that this slave girl is oppressed, and by delivering her from the demon, he is delivering her from being abused in many ways by her slave owners. They consider what he's doing an act of economic subterfuge against the state. They have him thrown in jail, and he and Silas are chained and shackled, and there are all sorts of other prisoners in that jail. And at midnight, they have a worship service, and in the middle of that worship service, God sends an earthquake and loosens all the bonds of all the prisoners because of two prisoners that are shackled. The Philippian jailer is holding a sword in his hand because he knows his life is at stake if any of those prisoners escape, and he's ready to kill himself. And Paul says, don't do yourself any harm. He's in the dark. He's got a word of knowledge. Don't do yourself any harm. And the man says, well, what do I do to be saved? Now, he's not asking a theological question. He's asking a very survival question. And Paul's answer seems really flippant and easy. And as contemporary Americans, we turn this into an altar call and misread the entire thing. When Paul says, believe on the Lord Jesus and thou shalt be saved, he's not giving him a self-improvement course. He's not giving him a 3 easy steps to salvation. He's saying to the Philippian jailer, discern that there's something going on that's beyond your ability here, because the King of the kingdom is operating to bring about his reign of righteousness in the lives of all those that are coming in contact with his kingdom through his emissaries, those that are sent to preach the good news to the oppressed, to the poor. And we know what happens. His entire household comes to Christ. But the reality is there was all sorts of things that Philippian jailer needed to be saved from, just like there's all sorts of things you and I still need to be saved from. But so easy it is for us to reduce this to an exciting moment, which it is, and turn it into a self-improvement message, and turn everything into demonizing the young woman who is oppressed by two slave owners and who makes them money by a spirit of divination, while what she is saying is absolutely true. Now, that takes a lot of theological courage to work out and work through. And the moment you oversimplify that, you can justify a lot of abuse that goes on in the name of the so-called apostolic and prophetic. I pray God will clean house in this season. Judgment has begun in the house of God. Beware, be sober, be vigilant, because all of us need to realize there's something we need to be delivered from, and only Jesus can do that. What must you and I do to be saved? We need to believe fully on him, on his kingdom, on his lordship, and on what he's doing. Have a great weekend.